Cheers, Zach. All right, buddy. Thanks for joining us today on Everblack Podcast. How are you?
Oh, it's lovely to be here. Thanks for having me, and I'm doing pretty well.
That's good, man. Very good. It's been a while. I haven't caught up in a while, so
Yeah, man,
life's been happening.
life's been happening big time, man. Like, I don't know about you, but it feels like a million years are all stretching into one at the moment, and we haven't been able to play as much music as usual. So it's going to be really awesome to get back out on the road really soon.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that was going to be first question. Heading back out on tour for a few shows there. Good, decent run.
Yeah,
how's it going to feel being back on the road?
man, we are rehearsing so hard because I think we're all like, when we got in there for our first jam back, we were realizing that we were a little bit rusty.
Yep.
But it's been so epic to get back in and spend a lot of time with the fellas again, and because we've all kind of just been in separate states as well, working things and different jobs, and but yeah, we're back together and really loving playing together, and all the songs sounding crazy. So it's going to be really, really fun. Like, this is the longest run we've done in years, so it's going to be epic to get out there to all the regional spots that we love so much too.
Yeah. Well, Unify Off The Record, that being one of the tours.
That's first one off the ranks this Saturday, which is going to be so sick. Yeah, and obviously there's some pretty cool bands. Like, we love Wildheart, who are another Brizzy band, who are really great. And I don't know, is Void of Vision still in the lineup, or are they having some time at the moment?
I didn't see them on the show you guys were at, but I may have missed that. I know you guys got obviously doing your Thornhill tour anyway, but I think they're playing on your set with at Unify and Banks Arcade, Wildheart as well.
Banks Arcade. Oh, great. So that'll be really good. I saw the back end of their set at Unify last time, but it'd be good to catch the whole thing this time.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I'll be able to hang the boots up and then watch Banks Arcade.
Yeah. How do you think it's going to be? Like, different style, not so much just a one show, sort of everybody doing their own shows. Is it a different style, I guess?
Yeah. Like, how do you mean at Unify, like for the different places? Yeah. I'm into it. I like the fact they're making it a bit more of a road trip. I always just support anything that's regional. Like, anything that is going to places that music doesn't usually go is pretty important, because yeah, I was born in Newcastle and back there a lot, and only seeing, like, the music that got there was really important to people that went there. And then whenever we've been on it, like you said, you spoke to Jake last week from In Hunt's Wake, like, they took us out on that huge Great Southland tour, which was our first proper big regional run. And then we did Hands Like Houses regional run, which was just like extensive, like 30 shows or something as well. So, and all those tours were the most fun we've ever had on the road, for sure, because you're playing for so many different people every night. Everyone appreciates it so much. You feel this connection to the reason you started doing it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're just a lot when you're a kid.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, completely understand. It's like, even like being here on the Gold Coast, like, I know Gold Coast is big, but like before recent times, we didn't get a lot. I always used to come up and see you guys in Brisbane and everyone else. Yeah. Like, it's just down the road, but it feels like a totally different different time and era. And but no, that's awesome, man. Like,
it's good to have it's good that you've got Vinny's there now, because it's a good spot to have music, and there's a lot of good shows coming through there, which is great to see.
Yep. Yeah, no, I was there Friday. That was a good time. So that was awesome.
Who'd you see?
Mass Sky Raid.
Oh yeah. I know the band. Yeah, I covered one of their songs at like the Album of the Year party last year at the Trippin'.
Oh, cool.
And then they won Album of the Year after we did it. So I gave them a little bit of the old Zach Britt luck, dude. Which really either way, trust me.
What song did you do?
I'm gonna look it up because I don't want to say the wrong thing. Give me 2 seconds. I'll know the exact one as soon as I see it, because it's a great song. I just can't remember
I'm fairly new to them. I only met them and that a couple of weeks ago, actually, and started listening to them. And got in touch with Adam, lead singer. He's a cool dude.
Not Alone.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, which was awesome. I'm pretty sure that was the one. Not Alone. Yeah, definitely Not Alone.
Yeah, cool.
It was, but yeah, it was a good cover. I'd love to record it sometime, but they're just nice guys.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. Do you get much? Sorry, man, you're good.
How was the show?
Yeah, it was good. It was a couple of the uh, supports pulled out. One band was sick; they had the flu, COVID, and one of the other bands, the drummer fell over and broke his wrists or something. Like both of them, so it was just crazy. So they had one band come in and fill in, so it was only 3 on the lineup. But yeah, it was just like wow. if anything bad could go wrong, it did.
Yeah. Wow, they got some real. Maybe that's some Vinny's luck there.
It's good. It's good for me. It's real close. So
yeah,
real go there. So do you find like when you go to say Unify or a lot of the bigger shows, do you get a lot of chance to watch the other bands, or do you spend more your time alone prepping in the back?
I used to just watch everything and never prep at all for anything, and then now, like it becomes as you get older, you start to. I try and like not retreat too much or get in my own head too much because that's. But as I've gotten older, I've definitely had to like have that quiet time before going on stage and have like a good hour of just like because if I'm around too much stuff going on, I get really overstimulated and excited, and then I just drink like 1,000 beers. So.
Well, there's sometimes they're the best shows.
Honestly, like I've had some really good shows like that, but there's been a few lately where like New Year's was particularly memorable as where I was just like, oh, I didn't keep on top of the drinking. It's hard on New Year's because we played at midnight.
Well, yeah, understand.
But it was a really tough one, and like after that, it was like just one of those little poignant moments where you just go, yeah, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to feel like stage again. I just didn't feel like I was in control of what was going on, like for myself, and I really I don't really want that to be something people remember me by.
No,
but I don't think they.
No, I'm sure they wouldn't.
It's always good to have those moments though, of reflection where you're like, yeah, this was it. And I think also it does make more of a difference. It's not just me all the time, but when I look at the other fellas after that show, they were like, like yeah, let's not.
It's like you wake up the next morning, I'm never drinking again. 5 hours later, you're like, woo.
Literally on tour, I'll wake up and be like, oh yeah, went pretty hard last night. But then it's very, very hard not to do the same thing. But yeah, I think I'm getting a little bit better at it. And I enjoy going on stage now, just with a little bit more dexterity and maybe starting a little bit later.
Yeah, perfect.
So don't worry, there'll be pints flowing after shows, mate.
That's it. Well, I'm super keen for the album tour. I'm heading to the July show in Brisbane. So I'm going to look at. Been doing a bit of the photography work now, so I've got a couple of things. So I'll be shooting the show. Come check you out. So, how are you finding sort of? Well, I guess you haven't really been too away from him, but like doing these big tours again now, like away from your little one. How's he going to find it?
Well, yeah. Well, I haven't really been able to swallow that fact. So we'll take like Lucy and Harper will be with me for like 2 of the weeks of that.
Cool. Awesome.
So when we go to Bendigo, because that's where we had the farmhouse before we moved up here because of all the lockdowns and stuff, we will go back there and they'll stay with Lucy's parents on the farm for a few days and catch up because they haven't been together for a while. And then at least I'm close to them in the Victoria shows then. I won't be too far away. Yeah, exactly. If something does happen, I can race back to them within an hour or two. And then when we head up the coast, we're all just going to camp slowly up the coast. And then when we get to the Central Coast, they'll hang out with my parents in Newcastle or wherever's going to be best for them to be.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, Lucy was working full time, and then coming up to this, we just decided that it was just time for her to pull back on work for a while, just so that we could do this. It feels weird, like going away, and it didn't feel right. Like Harper's not Harper's super. We've been with Harper. One of us had been with Harper since the start of his life, and we enjoy being around him. That's kind of the lifestyle we have. So we want him just to be with us. We're not really, we'd love to find the right daycare, but we haven't found the right one yet. So we'll just take him with us until we do.
Yeah, there you go. You can come along and see the shows too, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, the shows you can see. I took him to see Good Things Festival, and that was like a big changing moment. I kind of regret it because since then he's been screaming so much. Like he saw Gajira play like standing side, and he like watched the whole thing. Was just like, oh my gosh! And then from the next day onwards, he's just like, just like.
I love
he
that.
He has a really strong voice. I don't know where he got that from, but he can belt it out. So yeah, in answer to that question, I can't really handle being away from him for too long. So we just take him along.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Now the newest album, Make Rainbow, Put It in the Sky. It's been out for a few months now. It's going really well too. Seen the streams and all that. They're getting up there. It's awesome. How does that album differ from the previous albums in terms of musical style, lyrical themes?
Well, the album was actually named by Harper. Speaking of Harper, my son, because we were wondering, we had a list of names that were just all didn't make the cut, but we were wondering, and I was like, look, I'll just ask Harper, and he was only like 1.5, I think, at the time, or maybe just turned 2. And I said, what should we call the album? And he'd been listening to the songs, and he said, Make a Rainbow and Put It in the Sky.
That's awesome.
Literally, that's pretty profound, like, because the whole theme was, about, I guess the whole theme really is about trying to find it has more mental health kind of themes in this one, rather than the journey that Mr. Spaceman was, or like, they've always been quite self-reflective Young Lion songs, or when I write songs, it's always been quite based on personal experience. But like Burn was quite an angry album, and like a breakup album with not really much remorse. It was just angry and projecting a lot of, which I think people resonated with in their own way. It just has that fiery, like, it's a fiery album.
100%.
And then Blue Isla it was really a lot softer and a lot more about love kind of thing and letting things soften you. And then Mr. Spaceman was kind of like jumped into a real era of like a lot of experimentation with psychedelics, and then it was more of a third person journey, or like discovering a higher self kind of story. And then this album just felt super, super personal. When it all came down to it and everything was writing, I don't think there was much in this album that wasn't incredibly hard to do. Like, everything about it was so hard. Like, the recording process took place almost 5 years before we put the album out. And we'd been writing the songs for almost 6 years.
Yeah, wow.
And then through that process as well, there was a lot of times where we didn't know whether we'd really see it through, because it didn't sound right in the beginning, and we pretty much re-recorded everything. And then kind of decided we wanted to go back to the old way of how it was sounding. So it was like, we've done a lot of overthinking on it. And then all of that went through the whole mental health breakdown of, like, I guess, lockdowns and being in isolation, and all being in different states for isolation.
Yep.
Our band practices were conducted like this, just in a Zoom setting of just chatting and playing things or talking through lyrics. And it was all pretty dark, I think, just through that time. Like, I had pretty firm beliefs going through the whole COVID thing about, like, just not wanting to be told what to do, basically.
Yeah, and agreed.
And that stuff really, like, even though I still believe that, I definitely, like, really let that be what was defining my reality at that point, which was hard not to be. But I was in a super dark place, and then I'd been through breakups, finding a person, having a baby, heaps of existential stuff, and then to get it all out felt crazy good in the end, to put that album out. But it was the most personal, I think, for me, for sure. Like, the day it released on Spotify, I just remember sitting in the car and just crying my heart out because I was just like, oh my God. And it was like the best feeling. And I had not a care in the world if anyone listened to it. And the other albums, I cared quite a lot if people listened to them.
Yeah, right.
Not in a way, like I wouldn't hang on it, but it was like more meaningful back then if people were listening. I was like, oh my goodness, look at all those streams, or yeah, we're really hitting some benchmarks here, or we're getting interest from the right people. But this one really just felt like, oh my God, we even just got it out. Like that is it. Like we got it over the line. We really didn't believe in it at a lot of different points. And there was lots of times since I kind of like forged the songs, because we've lost Dan, who was a main writing member, which has been, it was hard because Dan, even though we still don't really like chat at all, and we had a lot of differences in the end, and we tried really hard.
Yep.
But there's no way that I could ever deny the fact that he was just a huge part of the sound, a huge part of it, and did majority of the writing of the instrumentation before it got to me lyrically. But these songs were the first time where there was no Dan. I had to kind of like pick up what I've learned from watching Cal and learning from Cal. And obviously I'd written in other bands in the past, but never been like, okay, I've got to start all these songs from scratch. And I think, starting from a place, having been through a lot, all of them came out pretty personal. And so I think I've learned from that. I like doing that, but I'm also really keen to get back into a bit more of a persona or something for the next album, or like not be as personal, because it felt to care too much about things, and I couldn't not be attached to certain lyrics. Or if someone was like, I don't really think this lyric works here, I'm like, well, fuck off, like that.
It's going there.
Yeah, like that's kind of how I feel on the inside, and I know because it was personal to me. That's why I felt that way.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's almost impossible to explain to someone how you felt, so that's part of the challenge too. Like, and I really am so grateful to the fellas for backing me on a lot of things that, in the start, there was a lot of songs that they really didn't like, that weren't really sitting well with them or weren't exactly where it was, and they really trusted me. And like at the end, to get through to some of the points where they're like, oh, this is now my favorite song, or we should play this song. And I'm like, yes, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, I fully remember you hated that song. Or I fully remember that was your least favorite. And like, to me, that's a win for me, because I just, sometimes you have to really die on the hill a little bit, not when you see the end vision, or you think you do. But yeah, you get pretty shaken coming through the whole COVID time and everything. You just like, you question everything, including yourself, massively.
Oh, yeah. It was hard for a lot of people. I think I remember back then you guys were doing sort of live stream shows and all that on Instagram and YouTube and all that. Like, it was just that helped. Doing that pretty fun.
It was good. It was good to do that for a while, and then I think it was like I just felt I had to just keep doing something like that, just to keep connected to people and to like help people in a hard time as well. And then I think I was just doing it for so long that it just kind of like, I hadn't really taken stock of what was going on. And when finally everything stopped and I realized the Dreamer tour had been completely cancelled, like, and everything, and we had to refund all the tickets, which was kind of like my income for a year, then I was like, I kind of like sat back and really was like, I don't really know what's going on right now. And then I like the plot and was like, the government's cancelled my job. I'm done. Like living out in the woods. Like, I don't know what's going on right now. I haven't seen any of my bandmates for 6 months, and like it really could have gone either way. But again, painting, like art, it just helps so much. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I found painting in that time, and like also had a son, obviously, which was incredible. All of that stuff, but yeah, for an artist, there's just something crazy that you need to just express, or you need to get it out that way. Otherwise, it gets super malignant and doesn't really. I honestly I knew every artist was feeling the same way too, because you're just like, fuck, you need it. You need that outlet. It's not just as a job, like it's actually medicine as well. Yeah, and exactly. For people that do music, it's their medicine as well. Like, no live music was just crushing for a lot of people, and for a lot of people it's the only medicine they have. Like, so yeah, I felt pretty off it that we couldn't do that. I can't wait to do it again. It's going to be so sick.
We're all waiting.
Yeah.
Is there, I guess the album cover, it's visually striking. Is it was there any sort of shed some light on the artistic choice, really? It's just...
Well, it was our housemates at the time, who were some old friends of mine, Jack and Tiana. Tiana actually took the final photo, but Jack Mackenzie, his name is, he had the idea to have a portal. We did a few like mock-up shots of things. He wanted to have like a square door just sitting at the top of a hill, with light shining through it, and it was going to be pretty like photoshopped. And then as we spoke more about it, the way we really 5 film clips they did for their latest album that were all in black and white, really long play, really well like done, like really striking visually as well. So we kind of wanted to do something like that, and then because of that decision we were like, okay, well, we have to do it in real life, we have to build something. And then when we went to build the doorway, Ryan, our guitarist, who is also like a site manager, kind of architect type, great woodworker, he said, I reckon we need to do an archway. That was just what he said would look the best, kind of thing. And he was like, kind of said he'd just been daydreaming about it, and he was like, no, I just think it has to be an archway to set us apart from like all the other people who have done a doorway, you know, and the squareness of it just doesn't fit right with the album.
So he was thinking outside the square.
Yeah, like, well, we didn't know. Yeah, we were thinking outside the square, literally. And looking back, I'm so stoked that he came up with it, because man, it just, when he built the thing, it's so big, like really striking. We went out to this reservoir where we shot it, which is out just like out near Mogul kind of thing, like in Brisbane, like it's deep west side kind of thing, just out towards the other side of the Ipswich Mountains kind of thing. And it's a big reservoir that has huge concrete steps in it. Like all the film clip was done there for the Make a Rainbow and Put in the Sky film clip. And there's a lot of different amazing scenes there. But the one that we took the photo on is that big hill that leads up to and all these people go there walking, obviously, in the mornings and stuff like that. And we put it all up. And every time someone would walk around this bend where they see it, they'd just be like, oh, you could hear them. And they'd be like, what is it looked like a full-on art exhibition, because it was so big and so striking on the blue sky. And it had this muslin screen, it's called, which is just a type of fabric, but it only lets through like 70% of the light, so it has this glowing thing to it, but it's just the fabric. So in real life, it did look like it was an actual doorway. When the sun was looking through it, it had a glow to it, which was pretty pretty. So it was even more enjoyable to be there looking at it during the day. We've been trying to build one for the tour, but we've kind of stopped at the we think we might just print an awesome little one onto a backdrop, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, we look forward to it.
It really was the archway on tour, but it's so hard to fly with. It's so big. We're like,
who's going to take it?
Different weekends and still taking it. And in the end, we've just been like, holy crap, this whole thing has just been a very expensive affair. So we're just so excited to get out with the production we have planned, and we're just excited to get to people. It's going to be really good to play.
Yeah, awesome. We can't wait to see it. My favorite question of my interviews: if Young Lions could do a collaboration with any artist, live or not, who would it be with?
Any artist, live or not? I know there's so many that I would say personally, but I'd like to speak from the whole group. And I know that a band that's probably the most important to all of us collectively would be Polienzo, a band called Polienzo. Have you ever heard of them?
I haven't, honestly.
They're like all ex-members. They were all ex-members of a band called Oceana, which is they were real heavy, like new metal kind of. And then they went like indie rock, and then like went super chill, like piano kind of prog stuff, and we just love every album by them, everything they've ever done. When Dreamer did Loveless, which is actually having its 10-year anniversary this year, woohoo, party on.
Yeah.
Not Loveless, actually, when we did Songs of Solitude in Atlanta, I got the chance we hired Danny as a drummer, the guy from Polienzo. So I got to hang out with him, and that was like a huge thing for me. Everyone just wanted to get a drummer done, but I was so stoked that I got to have the time hanging out with Danny. I just hung out with him like an absolute fly stuck to him, man. It was epic to learn from him and watch him drum. He's incredible. So I reckon very Young Lions bucket list, even if it didn't sell any tickets, we'd just be like, let's get Polienzo. Let's just do a tour of Polienzo for the times so that we can get to see them every night. And then we also have a really firm love for a group called Bonobo, who's just a DJ. Like, he mixes. I'd say, like, we listen to Bonobo probably after every show. Like, when we get into the van, we're pretty much guaranteed to put on Bonobo. Like, just settles everyone into the same mood. Everyone just knows that it's, we just get to recover for a second, even if it's on the way to a crazy party after something or an after party or anything. It's like, in our van, we'll probably just chuck on some Bonobo and just like everyone get to the good zone in their head. So yeah, those two artists would love to do anything. I got to play ping pong once with Bonobo's nephew, but I never even met Bonobo. we're at a Balls Festival, and I was in a backstage area waiting for some friends who went to the toilet, and I was playing ping pong with this kid because he had no one to play with. He's like, "Can you play with me?" I was like, yeah, this would have been 5 or 6 years ago. So I was playing with him for ages, and all this stuff went down, and I've just been playing with this kid for ages. And then we were leaving, and I met up with my other friends, and I was like, oh, who are you here with? And he's like, oh, I'm here with my uncle. He's Bonobo. And I was just like, what?
I'm going to let you in.
Like, where is your uncle? He's like, oh, he's gone to stage or whatever. My auntie, like my mum will be back. His mum was Bonobo's sister or something. So I was spinning out though, but that's as close as I got to the Bonobo.
It's closer than some.
Yeah. Oh man, I was 1 degree. Seriously.
Well, man, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, man. We'll have all the links below to the new album, details of the upcoming tours. All the best with Unify, Thornhill, and the headline tours coming up. Hopefully we will see you very soon. I'll see you very soon. And we'll catch up for sure. And all the best.
Oh, it'd be awesome. Thank you very much for the support. And always. Yeah, mate.
Too easy. Cheers, buddy.